Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to our math lesson for today. Today's lesson is 10.2, which is called Read Picture Graphs. And the essential question that we're going to be asking ourselves and answering by the end of this lesson is how do you use a picture graph to show data? So yesterday we kind of learned about what data is and how we collect it and why we collect data for certain reasons. Today we're going to be learning about how to display our data so that people can kind of see the results of the data that we collected. Okay, so we're going to be using something called a picture graph, which is going to show us another way to kind of present our data to other people so that they can see the results and they can maybe answer some questions that they may have about the data that was being collected from a survey or something else.
Hi, friends! Carlos and I are tagging along on a school field trip today. I found a picture graph drawn by one of the children. Let's take a closer look. The title of the picture graph is Favorite Seasons, so it must be about the children's favorite seasons. I want to know how many children chose a favorite season that isn't winter. Carlos and I aren't sure how to read the picture graph. Let's find out how to use a picture graph to show data.
Okay.
Mr. Martin's class made this tally chart of their favorite hobbies. How many more children in his class chose sports than chose reading? First, let's count the number of children who chose sports as their favorite hobby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 tally marks. So 7 students chose sports as their favorite hobby. Next, let's count the number of children who chose reading as their favorite hobby. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 tally marks for reading. 3 students chose reading as their favorite hobby. You can see that there are 4 more tally marks in the row for sports, so 4 more children chose sports than reading. You can also subtract to find the answer. 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. The tally chart shows you the number of children who chose each hobby. Could the chart be used to find how many girls chose music? No, the chart does not show which tallies are for girls and which are for boys.
So this is kind of something that we did yesterday. We learned that if you want to find what the difference is between how many people chose one thing compared to the other thing, then you take the topic that was the most popular one or had the biggest number of votes, and you're going to subtract the smallest number of votes from the biggest one. So in this case, they wanted to find out how many more people chose sports than reading. Sports had 7 and reading had 3, so 7 minus 3 equals 4. So 4 more children chose sports. So that's kind of like a refresher from what we did a little bit yesterday. So that's just one example of a question that you might answer with a data table or a tally chart. Is kind of comparing one topic to the other. But if you remember at the beginning of this video, our friend Mr. Bear there, he was saying that he was looking at a tally chart of students' favorite seasons, and he wanted to know how many students total liked seasons other than winter. That might be another question that you might get asked when looking at a tally chart or any kind of data. And so what that person would do is count up all of the tallies other than that one subjects. So in that case, he wouldn't count the tallies for winter. If we wanted to find, if we were looking at this tally chart and wanted to find the total number of children who liked all hobbies except for reading, let's say, then we would count the ones in crafts, music, and sports, but not in the reading table.
A picture graph uses pictures to show data. A picture graph has a title that tells you what the graph shows. This picture graph shows the number of soccer games played in the months of March, April, May, and June. A key tells how many each picture stands for. In this picture graph, each soccer ball stands for one game. You can find the number of soccer games played in a month by counting the soccer balls. In March, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 soccer games. How many soccer games were there in June?
Okay, so we would go find the month of June, so March, April, May, June, and then looking at the key is very, very important because the key tells you how much each soccer ball is worth. So making sure that we always look at the key first before we count anything on our picture graph, because sometimes the key might tell you that one soccer ball is worth 2 games or 5 games. And so if that were the case, like if it was worth 5 games, we would have to count by fives. So this one is saying that each soccer ball student for 1 game. Okay, so we're just going to count by ones and we're going to see how many games were played in June. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's right. There are 7 soccer balls in the row for June, so there were 7 soccer games in June.
So again, just making sure that you always look at that key first and find out what how much each object is worth. Okay, so if you come onto office hours today, or if you ask for help in terms of that, the first thing I'm always going to tell you to do is look at the key and tell me how many what each object is worth. Okay, so in this case, each soccer ball was 1 game. Okay, so just make sure that you're always reading that key before you collect your data on the picture graph.
Now let's practice with the personal math trainer.
Okay. So the first one says, use the picture graph to answer the question. Okay, so here is a picture graph. It's got a title, number of pencils. It seems like these are the students' names over here. And then the key says each pencil stands for 1 pencil. So the question is, Mrs. Green has the same number of pencils as the 4 children. How many pencils does she have? So Mrs. Green has the same number of pencils as the 4 children. How many pencils does she have? So looking at this graph, she has the same number of pencils as all of these children. Okay, so we're going to have to count all of the pencils in this picture graph to find out how many pencils Mrs. Green has. So Alana has 1, 2, 3, and then Kiana has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Dante adds 2, which makes 12 and 13. And then Brad adds some more, so 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So all together, she has 22
Awesome.
pencils. Okay? Now, number 2 says, use the picture graph to answer the question. So let's take a look at our picture graph first before we answer any questions. So the title is Favorite Balloon Color. And then here are all the colors: green, blue, red, purple. Then the key says each balloon stands for 1 child. Okay? So now let's see what the question is. Which 3 colors were chosen by a total of 22 children? Okay? So which three colors were chosen by a total of 22 children? So that means of our one of our colors is not going to be included in that. So it says which three colors were chosen by a total of 22 children. So let's start by counting green, and we'll go down the list of colors until we get to about 22 children. Okay, so green, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we'll count all the blues. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, and then red, 15, 16, 17. So that couldn't work because we've already counted three colors and we fell short of 22 children. So let's, instead of doing the red, let's try green, blue, and purple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So we got 22 exactly there. So that means that 22 children together voted for either green, blue, or purple. So our answer here is going to be green, blue, and purple.
Awesome!
Okay?
Now try your homework on your own with the personal math trainer. It includes the exercise you saw at the beginning of the lesson.
Okay, my friends, so now I think you are all set to go on to Think Central and do the assignment for 10.2. They gave us some really good examples in this video to kind of work together with and kind of help us better understand just how to read a picture graph and maybe some questions that certain people might ask us once we collect our data and present it in a picture graph. So they gave us some really good examples there. So there's not going to be another video next to this one. I think that we are good to go and log into Think Central and complete the assignment for 10.2. So great job today, and good luck on your math homework, everybody. Bye.